Hello, all you hardcores out there. How you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the biggest gob in sport. I say the things on here that nobody dare say. And today we're joined by legendary fight guru Peter De Freitas, all the way from the East End, I think. Are you in East Ender, Pete?
I'm an East Ender, yeah, through and through, mate.
Whereabouts?
Well, I was born in Stratford, but I now live out in Chigwell, Essex,
Oh, that's where Ronnie O'Sullivan lives, isn't it?
just round the corner.
Yeah, do you see him much?
I don't see Ronnie a lot. I know his dad very well. Yeah,
Yeah, his dad
yeah,
had a big stretch, didn't
yeah. He was a lifer. He was.
he? Yeah, he's all right, his
Yeah,
dad, apparently, isn't he?
yeah. He's always one of the chaps, isn't he?
Yeah, I've heard he's one at Geezer's down there.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
he's
How,
all right.
how are you doing in yourself, Pete? Are you all right?
Well, not really. I got some bad news last week. They found a lump in my esophagus,
Well,
and
I'm sorry to hear that, mate.
they found a lump there, a tumour, like, and they've took a sample and they've sent it away. It's going to take 4 to 6 weeks. I've got a bloody sore throat where the cameras went down my throat and that into my stomach and that, you know. You know yourself been through
I've
it.
had that. I've had that.
It's
I had
horrible, isn't it?
a hospital
Yeah,
in Worksop. Yeah, it's awful, isn't it?
yeah. But I'd like to say thank you to all the viewers who send their love to me. I really mean that. A lot of respect goes out there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. We always give you a shout out, Pete.
Yeah, the viewers are very good. Yeah, I
We don't want
appreciate it.
you popping your clogs on us, do we?
No, I'm too young for that yet.
You
Yeah,
still
boxing needs
got.
me. Boxing
Yeah,
needs me.
it does, mate. Uh, I don't really know where to start, really. So we'll just roll. You know, like Clint Eastwood says, let's just roll
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, yeah. No problems. Yeah.
Russia Ben, Christopher Eubank Jr. What do you make of it all, Pete?
Well, I've looked at it like this. You know, I'm Team Ben. Always have been. I mean, I
Mm.
was with his dad, so obviously, I wanted Connor to win. He didn't win, in my opinion. But how do you look at the fight? Do you look at an 18-foot ring for a dust up, which what it was, or, you know, he turned out to be,
Mm.
or was it a 20-foot ring where you could move around and box, where he would have got beat probably more convincingly?
Mm.
So they Team Ben obviously set it all up for a dust up. He was never going to come off of his chest. Do you see what I mean? From round one to round 12. So I scored the fight and I gave it to 4 or 5 rounds to EUBANK. I've got to be honest with you. You know, there's no way it was a 1 round or a draw. Whoever was watching that was obviously drinking alcohol. You know, I mean, I don't drink, so I've done it in a clear mind and an unbiased way. I viewed it unbiasedly. And I thought Eubank was beating him to the jab. I thought Connor early was like throwing his shots and falling in, losing his feet. He didn't move his head. He was getting picked off too easy. But his fitness was there. And he held the 160 quite well, I thought. But
Mm.
then the other guy, was he physically drained to death? Or you'll never know the outcome of it, really, will you? He didn't tell you nothing about either fighter.
Pete,
Eubank's obviously drained.
yeah. You know this? He were a margin over now. A pace would have took that down to bang on 160. So are we buying
Mm.
into all this? There were a massive fine that they were saying, or is it just all hype and that?
I heard it was 375,000.
Yeah, in
But
pounds sterling,
yeah,
yeah.
but then you look at it like this: Eubanks has won. If they take the 375 grand off of him, he could turn around and go, "See you later." I don't want to know for the rematch if there's going to be a rematch, which I don't think there will be personally.
No.
I think because of the time gap, they'll need to recover.
Mm.
Eubanks is going to want 6 to 7 months off after this,
Yeah.
so that's making him bigger and bigger and harder to get down to the weight. Connor's then got to make a decision. Does he want to wait or does he want to continue his career, dropping back down to 147, which I
Yeah.
think he will struggle with?
Yeah.
I think he really now is a 154 fighter. But
Hmm.
they say, like, for instance, yesterday I listened to your mate, what's his name? What's his name with the big glasses? Black kid with the big glasses from East South London.
Oh,
He,
James.
no, the one you was going to fight, who you wanted to fight over. Malik, what's his name?
Big Malk.
That's it, Big Mel. Listen to his channel, and he going, "Oh, Ben walks around massive and all this." Well, if he walked around massively, he would have come in at 160 on the button. He came in at 156, which tells you he's not a middleweight. Yeah, he's at the most a 154 fighter. Because when he weighed in at 156, That's what a fighter would weigh in if he was a 154 fighter and he wouldn't fight in a title fight. You see what I mean? If he was 2-3 pounds over, that's allowed when you're not fighting for a title. So he really got in at a light middleweight.
Yeah. Do you remember when you managed Nigel Benn and he fought
Yeah.
McClellan?
Yes.
McClellan came in at 165, didn't he, on the day, on the
Yeah, he
weight,
come
on the
in light. Yeah,
weigh-in?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
looking at Nigel Benn, 168, McClellan 165, this freakish puncher, but both basically two freakish punchers, weren't they, really?
Mm.
And I thought to myself, well, he hasn't really done himself justice there, weighing 165. Maybe he got it wrong and he had a bit of a poor training team. He had Stan Johnson, didn't he, up now? Because he got rid
Yeah,
of
but
Manny Stewart, didn't
there's two answers to that, really. I mean, the first answer is he really light and he's moving up? I think
he?
McLaren
Yeah.
was struggling at middleweight, but what happens at all? He wasn't training when he fought Ben. He was more interested in going up London with the dogs on London and doing all the show, going here, there, and everywhere with Don King. And he thought the fight would be over in 3 rounds,
Yeah.
right? So he didn't train like for a 12-round fight, obviously, you
Yeah.
know. So he probably dived at the end to get the weight off.
Yeah.
If he's walking around, say, at 170 and he had to get down to 168, and he was walking around at 175, 178.
He
Sorry,
weighed
training.
165 though on BoxRec, it says, McClellan.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the weight was 168. So
Yeah.
he was 3 pound underweight, which tells me he either dived at the end or he's very light.
Yeah.
Things in it. He's either very light or he dived at the end and misjudged it, as you said, misjudged the weight. And the same with Conor Benn. He could have misjudged the weight and dived at the end to get that off if he's walking around so big. But
Yeah, do you feel, Pete, do you know that with all this weight rehydration and stuff and messing about with weights and that Matchroom didn't learn anything from Michael Watson and EUBANK? They fought at 160, then they did the rematch for a 168 belt, but they put a clause in that they weighed 164. Now, the doctor said that if they'd have fought at 168, Watson wouldn't have been injured because he had to drain fluid down, didn't he, and stuff. Do you think that they've not learned anything from that?
No, they've tried to cheat the system yet again. They changed the system from weighing in the day and fighting in the evening, which, if that was the case, Nigel would have absolutely smashed EUBANKs, right? Both times. But because they gave it 24 hours, right, that after a few years of obeying that, they've started to cheat that system now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So they cheated that, and now they're cheating this. And then you got someone like Eddie Hearn, who's the probably the most prolific. I know he ain't been in the game as long, but he's done more than Frank Warren. Frank Warren's only the last couple of years started to push his name more out there.
Yeah.
You know, even though he's been in the game longer than anyone. Eddie Hearn is now dominating what he wants, like an 18-foot ring, which is only ever used by the WBC, by the way, never by any other governing body. And there weren't no governing body. That's why they got away with it. Yeah. There was no, even though it was, I don't know if his WBA international title was on the line last Saturday night. I don't know. But normally only the WBC allow 18-foot rings. So that means you've got a 20-foot outer ring and an 18-foot inner ring, yeah, which is basically just a bit bigger than a sparring ring.
Do you think EUBANK were badly advised on all these clauses?
Yes, definitely, 100%. Yeah, because they would still give him the fight if he said, "No, I want it at 160." Ben would have said, "What, for 10 million? Of course I'm going to get in the ring, or 8 million, whatever. Of course I'm still going to get in the ring." Do you think he was going to say no and drop down to like 100, 200 grand for a fight? I mean, look at now with Barrios. What's he going to get for Barrios?
A mil?
He won't even get that, I shouldn't think.
Yeah.
Because it's a title challenge.
He get beat against Barrios. It looked to me like his timing were out, Pete. What did you think?
Yes. And his feet were out. I sent him a message. I said, look, get rid of that chain around your neck and put your cross back. I said, start slowing down. You're fighting at such a fast pace. You can't control what you're doing or what's coming back. He was taking just as much as he was giving. And he was
got balls though, hasn't he, Conor?
Oh, yeah. Like his dad. You know, I said to him, you proved your dad's son.
Yeah.
Because
he did for me. I know there's the issue with the drugs and that. I'm not happy about the explanations, but he got in there, put a shift in, and forget the drug issues and that.
That was never in doubt, was it? I mean, for
No.
me, that was never in doubt, his balls, because I know he's dead, you see, and I know the camp. I know Tony. Tony's the same. He's got plenty of balls, you know, and he's obviously put his influence into Connor as well as his dad. And he's got his dad's DNA in him. So I know that he's got plenty of balls. You know, that I never doubted. His chin was the one that really impressed me. Was more than anything was his chin, because he didn't have to take some shots.
Yeah, he did. Do you feel that the judges got it right then on the night, Pete? 116, 112?
I thought they got it right. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm being 100% honest.
Tony Bellew had it 116, 112 the other way for Benn.
Well, I don't know what he would do when he's Eddie Hearn's best mate, isn't he?
Eddie said he had it a draw. Now, if Eddie's saying he had it a draw,
look, Eddie Hearn got humbled that night because he was waiting for a majority decision either way. And if he had gone to Benn, he wouldn't have said nothing. He'd have said, "Oh yeah, that's about right." And if it had gone to EUBANK, he would have been screaming all Sunday morning and Saturday night. He'd have been screaming, "Oh, it's a robbery," you know. But because all three judges shut him up in an instant, because all three got it right. 116, 112, 116, 112, 116, 112. They got it all bang on. So he could. His mouth had to be zipped up, didn't it?
Yeah. Do you feel that Eddie rubbed everybody up the wrong way this last 3 years with this fight?
Oh, 100%. I mean, what he's doing to boxing, he's destroying it for me. I mean, somebody should really. I mean, look, as what they said on another channel I watched, they said he's just the British Boxing Board of Control are not fit for purpose, and I agree with that.
Well, Robert Smith's not come out of this smelling of roses, has he? Because whenever he's pressured on this about where's this scientific evidence and have you give Benn a license and that, yeah, we have. Exactly. They can't talk about anything, can they? They just say, no, we can't legally talk.
Biggest question for me, when did Benn get a license? When?
Well, it's only in the last couple of months, isn't it? They've given it, Robert Smith. So he says, yeah, we've now given him a license, a border control license. So why though? How? And where's this scientific evidence and 274 page, £1 million dossier that they've spent on legal fees?
Well, I don't believe that. I don't believe he spent that. Right. Also, this is what's crippling him in the public persona. He's being destroyed. No one likes. Well, only his like small fan club like him, but overall, like his dad had Nigel had the public loving him. He's got 50% of what his dad had, or 40%, you know, because until he proves himself and says, look, this is what happened, then no one's going to believe him, are they?
Now, what did you think about Eddie coming out saying Conor Benn is now the people's champion? He's a superstar.
No, he's Eddie's champion. That's the correct way, isn't it?
He's
Eddie's champion. Yeah, no, that's what he is. He's Eddie's champion. He ain't the people's champion.
He hasn't won a belt.
No, exactly. You know, as much as I admire what he's done and all that, he's got a lot of things to prove yet. He proved he's got bollocks, and he proved he got a good chin and a heart of a lion, which we for me, that was never in doubt. But let's go and see him drop down to 147 and beat Barrios. But I personally, if I was his manager, I would say to him, have one fight before Barrios at 147 to see how you handle going back down at 147. Taking that drop down to 147 could be a big mistake for me. As you said, Barrios is a dangerous puncher. Well, and he likes to scrap.
Crusher's 29 in September.
Yeah, but I mean, look, if Crusher ain't too badly damaged, which I don't think he is, he's got swelling down one side, he'll get over that in a couple of months. He's a fit lad. He could go back out again in the summer on one of these big bills, and he could have a fight there, and then Christmas take on Barrios. Around towards the end of the year, take on Barrios. But he needs a fight in between at 147 for me. If it was my fighter, I would put him straight in from 160 down to 147. Or whatever he weighed in the night, 165, 168, whatever. I wouldn't drop him to 147 and put him in against a world champion. Don't know how much you underestimate him. Look what happened to Amjad Shearers. They thought they took a gamble on him, and look what happened. Do you see what I'm saying?
Kell Brook fought Golovkin at 160. He came back down to 147, and he's never been the same fighter since. Errol Spence.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. I would like to see him drop down to 147 and have one warm-up fight. I tell you a good fight for him at 147, really good fight, would be Stanley Otis, who Boots just beat. That'd be a good fight for a good test. And it'll get him set up for a bit of a rugged fight at 147. Because Stanley Otis ain't that great of a boxer, but he's tough.
What about Aaron McKenna?
I thought he was a class act on the night, really.
Yeah.
If you had to give one fight, I mean, as I said to you earlier, Benn EUBANK was a scrap. Public, that was an entertainment. If you're talking about boxing and skill, McKenna stole the night, didn't
he? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For me, yeah. But
Vidal Riley.
Sorry to interrupt, but McKenna, for me, ain't got a punch.
Yeah.
He ain't a puncher.
He's a mover, isn't he? A switcher.
He's a good mover and a good, technical fighter, good mover. Yeah. But switching over to Vidal Riley, he just didn't let the other guy settle, did he? He went straight on and went to work. No, from round one, he went to work, which was good.
Vidal Riley, for me, I've just said to Terry just now, I said, I think he's got it all.
Yeah. I said that ages ago, though, to be fair.
You did, yeah? You did.
I said it ages ago, yeah, on it. Yeah, I said he's got it all. Yeah.
Okay. Fighters seem to be slipping all night in every single fight on that canvas, Pete.
Yeah, what they should do, like we used to do, is when we had new boots, we used to get a knife and cut crosses all on the bottom of the soles. And then, and there's, or you can take some chalk and rub it in. Once you've done it with a knife, rub some powder in it, chalk on the bottom of your soles. And that's what they should do, really, because all this promotional shit.
Matthew Macklin said, oh, it's because he's got new boots on and all that. But some people are saying it's because of the advertising on the canvas. It weren't painted and it were like transferred on and they were sliding on it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it's not painted on. And Macklin is right to that degree. It is the new boots, but you've got to cut them at the bottom of the sole and then rub some chalk in the bottom. And that's, we always used to carry that gear. I used to carry all that. And used to do Nigel's boots.
You're an old schooler, though, aren't you? Like Jimmy Tibbs, they would have done that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, I learned all my stuff with Jimmy, didn't I?
Did you?
Oh, yeah. All what I basically know regarding working the corners and cuts and all that and picking up tips, I learned off of Jimmy. The biggest tip he gave me was adrenaline in the Vaseline. And the day of the fight, Vash go out when he gets up in the morning out of bed, let it soak in, then lunchtime. Then in the early evening, then when you get to the venue, and then when he gets into the fight, if he gets a little nick or a cut, there's all adrenaline working in his body already. So when he gets to the corner, it's easy.
Yeah, Jimmy Tibbs does that. When a fighter goes back to the corner and he's been buzzed, he does that nipping of the calf as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. Come on, yeah. He's a great motivator. He's the best out there.
Yeah. The commentary on DAZN, I've seen that one. Bellew, Super Bean, and Barker. Oof. And then I've seen the Sky one, Macklin, Clark, and it were all pro Benn, wasn't it? Do you think?
Yeah, 100% pro Benn, 100%. I don't know. I think what it is because of Eddie. See, they're all frightened of losing their passes or their jobs.
Yeah, it left a bad taste in my mouth really because it looked like the EUBANKs were on the back foot in the build-up and on the night. But then when English bowled into the arena, it all erupted, didn't it?
Yeah.
No, EUBANK's dad.
That was good. I believe that was scripted, though. I believe that was all scripted. Yeah, that don't just happen like that. I mean, he had a car ready to go and get him and all that. They knew. That was all scripted. I think the EUBANKs knew. I don't think Benn's corner knew. Don't think the Benn side knew, but I think the promoter and all that knew, and they was all told to shut their mouths. It's all theatre, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody's
great, though.
You know what? I always use this saying on here. Boxing's the only sport where the lions, which are the fighters, are scared of the rats, which are the promoters. And do you think 100%. That's true, that, Pete?
100%. They run everything, don't they? Eddie Hearn runs around and look, they all love him at the moment because they're all getting the money off him. When it's all over and said and done, you watch the stories that come out about him. Just like Mickey Duff and all the rest.
Yeah, Mickey. You used to deal with Mickey Duff, didn't you, Donkey?
Oh, yeah. Went out, had some good nights with Mickey Duff. He's funny as fuck.
Is he?
Oh, yeah, he's funny as hell, Mickey Duff. He's got more stories than you'd ever know.
Yeah. He tells a few good Kirtland Lang stories, doesn't he, Mickey Duff?
Yeah. I remember a quick story. Me and Duke McKenzie went over to France to fight Theory Jacques for the European title. And we walked into there, me and Duke. We got to the hotel, and he's in his room. He opened it, we banged on his door. He opened the door, start bollock naked. He had a big pair of nuts hanging down the floor. Oh, what a state. Me and Duke couldn't stop laughing. We had some fun over there.
Oh, yeah. Duke McKenzie loves Mickey Duff. He loved him, didn't he, Mickey Duff?
Yeah, he was loyal to him. He was loyal to Mickey Duff. He was his only manager, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mickey Duff. He always brings it, and I think that's why I like Duke McKenzie. He's a pretty stand-on guy, Duke McKenzie. He's got morals, and I like that about him, Duke McKenzie.
I can tell you this now: he's the nicest person I've ever met in boxing.
Duke McKenzie.
Yeah, he used to come around my house all the time. When my son's 43 now, 42. When he was a young boy, 11, 12, Duke used to, world champion, used to come around my house, sitting there in my son's room, play and talk to my son. Lovely fella, great geezer. Me and him used to go away for weekends. We had laughs, me and Duke. We were best friends back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you think the commentating were poor from all of them, though, really, then in end?
It was so biased that you just wanted to turn it off, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
I do most of the time. After a while, I turn it off.
Eddie's come out at the presser. Did you see the after presser?
I saw some of it.
The woman that come and asked the questions at the
beginning, I saw that.
I turned it off after that, mate.
Yeah. That's around me. Yeah. She was so couldn't get any further up his arse, could she?
No, it would embarrass. I mean, these are all favourites that get the lead questions, aren't they? Eddie come out and he said, no, it's going to be 158 because it's dangerous for Conor. But what do they want to do with EUBANK? Strip him down so there's no on him? Because that's only £1 higher than what they wanted the first time, and he were half dead then, wasn't he?
That would never happen. I don't even think the board would allow that now.
Yeah. Has EUBANK got the upper hand now in any negotiations for a rematch?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would think that there's stipulations in the contracts where Eddie can still control the meeting. But all EUBANK says, no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
You know? He's with Boxer, remember? So they're going to have their lawyers on it, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Frank Bong Crusher Smith, Eddie's CEO, was trying to get a fight on the car park to have a knock with EUBANK's guy, his advisor. What did you make of all that? He's just all hype.
I'll tell you why he done that. Because he had Tony Sims standing next to him, guarding him. And Tony's had a go at the geezer behind. I don't know if you saw it. I could hear Tony's voice. Yeah. He went to the geezer, you tosser, you ain't going to fuck off, because Tony can have a rap.
Yeah.
And I know Tony from old. I've worked the doors with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll go back a long time with Tony. And Tony stood next to him and guarded him. Did you see Tony was right next to him? They would never have got to him.
Yeah.
They would never ever got to him. So it was he was all gobbing off because he had the security, like Tony around him.
Yeah. So we had the weight issues. We've had eggs and we've had slaps and drug issues and dossiers and Piers Morgan, rehydration, ring size, Horsehair gloves. And then we had Billy Joe sausages at £220 in weight, which is 15 stone 10, trying to get into the dressing room to check that EUBANK's not cheating, and they told him to F off, didn't they, the big fella?
Yeah, but he had no right to be in there. He's not a licensed trainer, or he's not got no right to be in there. He's not licensed.
Well, why did they ask him to come round Matchroom to do that? Were it just for hype? Do you think they've used Billy because he's a loudmouth?
Well, it's just like another needle in the wound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They wanted to wind him up. They know that they don't get on. It's just trying everything they can to wind him up. But he was a cool all over the whole lot, wasn't he? EUBANK, he was cool. Like his dad was against us. He just stayed nice and calm, nice and cool. When Nigel's going, he just, so Nigel, I just want your belt, Nigel. That's what he said. And he's the same. I just want to beat you. You ain't going to beat me, Conor.
Do you think that Conor might have used up a lot of nervous energy and that it come back to haunt him in championship rounds? Because he looked dead after round 9, didn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah. The size didn't help, but definitely burnt a lot of energy. But, I mean, he fought for 3 minutes every round. You've got to give him credit. It wasn't a round he didn't fight.
The referee, it looked like EUBANK were against the ref. Do you agree, Pete?
The ref was against EUBANK, you mean?
Sorry, the EUBANK was Yeah. The referee was against
It was
you.
against EUBANK. Yeah, it did look that way. I thought he's a good referee because he didn't eventually take a point off of nobody, you know. But I thought he did pick on EUBANK a little bit more than Benn. It looked a biased way, but I don't think he meant it because he's a good referee, Victor Locker.
What do you think of this rumor about the broken jaw? EUBANK's played it down and said it isn't. What do you think?
Well, he's not in there. He's in there for total exhaustion. That's what he's in there for. Same as when Benn and McClellan. Nigel just collapsed from exhaustion. People say, oh, it's because of the drugs. It had nothing to do with it because the person that takes the drugs is supposed to follow them everywhere they go anyway.
Yeah.
Not supposed to leave their side till they've got their drug test. So it's their fault, not Nigel's. With regards to Connor, he's in hospital now.
Is he?
Yeah, Connor's in hospital now, you see. So it works, it's exhaustion, that's all. Fatigue and exhaustion.
They put him on fluids, don't they?
Yeah, they put him on fluids. Nigel stayed 2 or 3 hours in there that night with McClellan, and he walked out with a bandage on his face, like a little sticker on his face, and we walked out there.
Did he end up going clubbing that night, Nigel?
Nah.
No?
We had to help him lift him into his bed.
I had to lift him into the bath and he couldn't even eat fish and chips.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. He said he'd never been beat so bad in his life, he said.
So all them Essex boys putting stories out about we went clabbing, it's all rubbish.
No, it's not true. He couldn't even get in the bath. We had to lift him in the bath, lift him out of the bath, and put him in his bed.
What did that back? What were we like the next day?
Well, he couldn't move. He just had help. Obviously, people were there. I didn't go the next day. I didn't see him the next day. He just wanted a rest.
So McClellan gave him a beating then, did he?
Oh, yeah. From head to foot, mate. He felt it. Once the adrenaline goes down, that's when you feel it. It's like Connor and that to Sunday yesterday. They probably really, really aching. I think Connor woke up probably Sunday morning and thought, fuck me, I need to go to hospital. Do you know what I mean? Myself.
Yeah, you felt crap.
Yeah, 10 ounce gloves getting beat. You know what I mean?
12 round. They were 12 rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Has Ben done 12 rounds like that before? He'd not had it.
Not like that. The only one he fought was the German kid, wasn't it? The 12 rounds like that.
Yeah. All in all, do you think that they've done well to get a fight like that, them two? Because what level would you put them at, really? Out of area English, British, what level are they at?
Well, I don't think Saturday night defines what level they are, but I'll tell you what level Saturday night was. It was in between boxing and misfits. You could put them in the middle somewhere, you know, because it wasn't a boxing match and it wasn't a complete misfit fight. Do you understand? I would put it somewhere in the middle between, because it wasn't a world-class title fight, was it?
No.
There was no technical fight there of either of them. I mean, EUBANK's jab, but it was a lazy jab. Do you understand? He would throw the jab, he wouldn't come back like that. He'd throw it and drop it down. And then Connor see that, and he's just coming in with the right hands all the time.
It looked to me like Crusher were trying to do that right hand lead all the time and not jab his way in like his old man.
Yeah, that's what his dad said. He's lunging all the time. Look, in all the interviews his dad done since the fight, he's never once said my son won the fight to nobody.
Oh, yeah. As he said, he's got a lot to learn.
Yeah, which is honesty. You know, he's honest, man. He said, no way, like, he didn't say he didn't win, but he didn't say he didn't lose, you know. So, he says he's got a lot to learn and he made a lot of mistakes, which he didn't do in the gym, you know. So,
but he said that his son were knocking elite middleweights about in sparring.
Well, he was sparring with Denzel Bentley. That was all he was sparring with.
Yeah, I'm sure I heard a name mentioned from some foreign guy or something. But
that he fought the guy who's fighting Canelo.
Yeah,
he sparred with him a couple of rounds. He sparred a couple of rounds with Thingy Bob. What's his name? The good fighter, the welterweight, Porter.
Yeah,
he done a few rounds with Porter, and Porter said, like, he surprised me in a few things. You know what I mean? That he done.
Well, he looks very explosive though, Crusher. He came out like a lion, didn't he?
Yeah, he was up for the fight, but see, he couldn't have done that in a 22-foot ring or a 20-foot ring. He wouldn't have got away with it because the boxer would have moved around the ring. He had to stay. What did EUBANK Senior say afterwards? Straight away, he went, "Well, my son had to stand and fight. He couldn't. There was nowhere for him to move.
Nowhere for him to go, was there?
No." And also, if there's a fight in September, say with Usyk and which it won't be now because Usyk's just signed
Usyk and Dubois.
They won't put him on the undercard because the ring won't be 18 foot or
Yeah.
it'll be 20, 22 foot because they're big guys. They need that room to move.
Yeah.
And they ain't going to get an 18-foot ring because as soon as they take a jab and go like that, they'll be touching the ropes.
So so they already had Spurs, apparently they already had the Spurs ground booked in the last couple of weeks for a show in September. Do you think Turkey's talking a bit of wishful thinking, wanting to get them on that undercard? Because I don't think they'd want to be undercard men, would they?
Well, I've seen a date today, July, for Usyk and Dubois.
Dubois. So it must be
I
Joshua AJ then, September.
Yeah, but I don't think that fight will happen.
Oh, Joshua AJ now?
Yeah, I don't think that fight happens.
Sorry, Joshua Fury. Sorry, Joshua Fury.
Sorry, Joshua Fury. Yeah, I don't think that fight happens. And it ain't because either of them two won't fight. It's the TV and all their sponsors. They just won't agree. They just can't come to an agreement. It's not just about them fighting in the ring with Joshua. He's like a fucking massive, great big company. And he's got about 100 sponsors behind him. So they've all got to agree with all Fury sponsors and all that, and TV and rights and all that. It's a big old occasion.
Yeah.
That's why it's worth so much money.
Do you think we're ever going to get that fight, Pete? Fury, Joshua?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
No.
I don't see that happening at all. I see, obviously, the Dubois fight, and I see Dubois getting beat much easier this time because in Poland, he fought in about that inch of rain in the canvas. So Usyk couldn't move his feet as good. You watching if it's dry and that over here.
You think the gloves made a difference on night, Pete? What gloves they had on?
Oh, Ben. Well, yeah, gloves can make a difference, especially when you're a puncher, but they didn't prove on the night to make a difference, did they?
No,
because
nobody got dropped, did they?
No one got dropped. No, I thought he was going to get stopped in the 12th, Ben.
Yeah, I did. I thought if they were gone on another couple of rounds. Yeah.
So full credit to him. I mean, especially when you're going backwards and you're falling into the ropes, it's quite easy to go over. So for him to stay up on his feet, he's done very well.
His dad used to go to ropes and do that, didn't he?
And they used to moan that he was going too low.
Yeah.
And that's how McClellan caught him. Because he was going too low. See, there's all right going like that, but then you go like that, like Nigel used to dip too low. And he used to get caught, tagged like that.
That weight thing for me, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, that rehydration thing. I mean, they go on about safety and all that. Safety is paramount. And Nigel Benn said that it's a dangerous sport and he gets upset talking about it. But yeah, they did that rehydration thing with EUBANK. And I think it's in bad taste, that me.
Look, if the IBF title was on there, fair enough. But it wasn't.
Title, what are
no, there's nothing there except for a ring magazine that's been made up now by Turkey, a tea-towel Turkey. But my argument is, you both agreed at 160. Why put an hydration? Look, if he never had that hydration clause in there on Saturday night, I think he would have stopped Conor.
Yeah.
Late on. I think he would have got to Conor late on.
He seemed to take his time at beginning, EUBANK, pacing himself, wasn't he?
Yes, that's the clip. And you know what he done as well? When he leant on the ropes, he was looking at the clock, waiting for the last 30 seconds. And then he went,
like Leonard
and guaranteeing the round.
Yeah.
Like Sugar Ray Leonard.
He was like he old manned him, didn't he, Ben? He old manned him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. As Nigel said, in his heart of hearts, Nigel knows he got manned. And that's why he said he's got a lot to learn. Nigel could see it. Nigel could see it. That's why he never said that his son won the fight. Because he knows he got, as you said, got manned. You know what I mean? If you're honest about it, I could sit here and go, no, Conor won, it was a draw, or Conor won. No, he didn't. I'll be lying. I'll tell him to his face. For me, he didn't win it.
Yeah.
And I'm a team Ben.
Yeah. All right. I'll send you a link, Pete, for part 2. Do you want to jump on about 1:15?
Yeah, lovely.
All right, I'll send you a link now.
All right, mate. Take care.
Mate. Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. We're joined by Peter de Freitas today, and I hope you're going to jump on part 2 where we're going to talk some more boxing and the show at Tottenham Hotspur. All right. But Liverpool won the league, Terry. Pop, pop, bang. And you, Bricktop, you Arsenal man. Peace out.